Hi, it's Martha. I have some books to recommend today for the middle grade reader who wants some good adventure fiction, especially. The first one is Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch. And Eva is a determined young witch who seems to only have a pinch of magic. She tries her best, but her spells always seem to go wrong, and she has to prove herself to the Council of Witches before her 13th birthday, or they will take all her magic away. So the quest that she has to go on is to live in a town and be their resident witch for a year and prove herself by doing magic for the townspeople. So she is going to try her best, but she doesn't know if her semi-magical repairs and fixes are going to be enough to prove herself as a good witch. So quite a good story. She also is able to make some friends and kind of believe in herself. Eva Evergreen. Okay, the second one is called The Smartest Kid in the Universe. And this is about Jake, a regular 7th grade guy, kind of a slacker, really, doesn't work hard in school. And one day, at the beginning of a science conference that his mother is involved in, he finds a jar of jelly beans in her office and he eats it as a snack. And he doesn't realize that the jelly beans were a science experiment in which all kinds of knowledge were in the jelly beans, and suddenly he seems to know everything. And everybody is after him. The FBI and the CIA and a bunch of bad guys all think that his knowledge is worth chasing him down for. And his school is also in danger of being shut down. All of a sudden his life becomes really interesting, how to save his school, how to get away from all the bad guys, and also how to manage all this without losing his two best friends. Very, very funny, fast-paced and funny. The Smartest Kid in the Universe. It's by Chris Grabenstein, who's written a lot of other funny books. The next one is Girl Giant and the Monkey King. And this is a kind of a cool fantasy about an 11-year-old Vietnamese American girl. And she and her mom have moved to a new town, a town that does not have very many Asians in it. So she suddenly feels kind of like she's sticking out, or sort of a fish out of water, but also because she has a huge secret that she's desperate to keep, which is that all of a sudden in the last year or so, she has become super freakishly strong. And, you know, when she goes to open a door, the door comes off its hinges, or when she wants to kick a soccer ball, it goes 5 miles. So she is really trying to keep that secret. And another problem is that accidentally she has released from a 500-year prison that he was in magically. She's released the Monkey King, the legendary trickster god, and he is trying to make a deal with her that she could use her strength to go into this ancient kingdom of demons and dragons and princesses and get something for him, and in return he will help her. And you know, is that a good deal? She's not sure. What she really wants to do is join the soccer team and make some new friends. So a kind of a cool adventure about the choices that she has to make. Girl Giant and the Monkey King. The next one is Charliethorne and the Last Equation. And the last equation refers to a secret, mysterious equation by Albert Einstein, who, no one has ever been able to find this equation. People have been looking for it for decades after his death, and he never wanted it to be found because it was so dangerous. He didn't want anyone to know about it. And the CIA is desperate to find the equation because a group of bad guys are after it as well, a kind of a horrible group of racist mean people are trying to find it for their nefarious reasons. And so the CIA decides to get Charlotte, known as Charliethorne, a 12-year-old super genius, to help them find this equation. Well, the problem is Charlie has a mind of her own. She's got a big attitude and is a real rebel. So this is a very fast-paced adventure with lots of danger, lots of humor, and she is going to have more adventures. This is book 1, Charliethorne and the Last Equation. The next one is Dragon Egg Princess, and this is a fantasy world. Also, Jiho is a young boy who's from a family that isn't affected by magic, so curses and spells just kind of bounce off them, but they can sense magic around them, so they're kind of useful and powerful in their own way. And because of the fact that they're not affected by magic, Jiho's family has traditionally been the protectors of this magical, enormous forest where very powerful supernatural creatures live, and also where people have disappeared mysteriously, including a princess who was lost years ago, and Jiho's own father is lost in the forest somewhere. And Jiho gets roped into a group of foreign forces from outside of the kingdom who want to cut down the whole forest and develop it into something else. They want to destroy the forest. And so Jiho needs to protect the forest, maybe find the princess, find out what happened to his dad, and basically save the world. So the Dragon Egg Princess is pretty exciting. And the last one I have is called A Wish in the Dark. Isn't that a beautiful cover? I love that cover. And this is a really rich adventure, very beautifully written, set in a fantasy world inspired by Thailand and Thai culture. And it's about a young orphan who was born in prison and has spent his early years in prison, and he escapes from prison. And his world, this whole world in the book, is all ruled by one man's magic. A man who appears to be benevolent and keeping everyone safe, but really is kind of abusing his power and is the safety that he's offered to everyone in this very law-abiding, rule-oriented, really regimented kingdom. Is that safety worth the loss of freedom and the kind of oppression from this dominant man? And so Pong, the orphan, decides that he is going to stand up to that. And it's a great story of abuse of power, civil disobedience, how to protest things and get people on your side. Also about friendship and loyalty and the courage to stand up for change when change needs to happen. So A Wish in the Dark, one of my favorite books this year. So I hope some of those sound good to you. Remember that even though you still can't come into the library, I'm sorry, you can request them from curbside service and we will get them for you. So happy reading.